What's up, military and veterans? The time has come for you to destroy your financial freedom goals, and luckily, there's an event coming up just for you.
The Veterans for Financial Freedom organization is hosting a seminar in San Diego, California this February on financial literacy, entrepreneurship, real estate investing, and some of our Agent Goldmine guests are rocking the stage as speakers.
Get your ticket at veteransforfinancialfreedom.org/Agent Goldmine and take action towards your goals today. Now, enjoy the show. We're going to talk about working with medium term and short term rental.
So, my favorite thing in the world that I'm doing right now, which is sort of the referral stuff, but it's mostly creative finance. So that's like what I've been plugged into.
So what do you mean? Can you elaborate more about what you're doing right now with this creative finance stuff?
Yes. What I'm doing right now with creative finance is I'm teaching a lot of people how to...
This is the Agent Goldmine, where you'll find real talk, and ambition. We're here to build real businesses and be more than your average agent. We want to know what the killers are actually doing within their businesses, the reality of it. All tactical, no fluff. So we're here to find out. Please share and enjoy.
Welcome back to the Agent Goldmine. Today, we have one of my seriously favorite people in the whole world in the house. Her name is Zeona McIntyre. If you don't know Zeona, she is from Boulder, Colorado, but she refers nationwide. But let's be real, you probably do know Zeona because she is the co-author of the Bigger Pockets book, 30-Day Stay. And she's been on the Bigger Pockets stage. She's been featured in Business Insider and NPR and on more than 100 freaking podcasts. This girl is everywhere. She's one of the coolest people that I've ever met. I just love you. There was one time where we were talking about how I'd just known you forever. We'd been friends forever. And you were like, Shelby, I literally just met you. But you know what? That's okay. Zeona has been an agent since November of 2020. And since then, she has closed 145 transactions and almost 43 million in volume, 37 of which were this past year alone, as a solo agent. And Zeona does all this while traveling to a bajillion countries. She's been to 48 different countries and spends half her time in Boulder and half exploring the world as an international pet and house sitter. We have so much we could talk about today, but specifically, we're going to talk about working with medium term and short term rental clients as a niche from the agent perspective. We're going to talk about how Zeona does so much while traveling, like the manpower behind the scenes. And then we're also really just going to talk about like life and purpose, and it's not all about money and all these other things. And that's it. Okay, that was so much intro. Zeona, welcome.
Thank you. I'm like, whoa, I'm so hyped now. I'm like extra hyped. I sound really cool when Shelby says it.
You are really cool. You are really cool, Z. Okay, Z, I want to start with where should we even start? You know what? Should we start like with the referral stuff? Should we start with the clients? Which one do you want to start with?
That is never asked of me. My favorite thing in the world that I'm doing right now, which is sort of the referral stuff, but it's mostly creative finance. So that's like what I've been plugged into. And the reason it's my favorite thing ever is that the thing that I got bogged down about when I was going to start being an agent was like, hey, I love to travel. So that's never going away. And if that's going to be a problem because I need to do showings, then I'm not going to freaking do it. And so now I sell creative finance deals from my house anywhere that I am currently living. And I don't have to do a showing. I don't have to leave my home. It's like the most fun I can have with my clothes on. Freaking love it.
Well, dude, let's do that. Screw the things that we were going to talk about before. Can you tell us
we have time for it all.
Yeah, true. But okay, starting with your passion with the most fun you can have with clothes on. So what do you mean? Can you elaborate more about what you're doing right now with this creative finance stuff?
Yes. What I'm doing right now with creative finance is I'm teaching a lot of people how to buy subject to. So subject to is just when you take over someone's mortgage payments. So if the seller has a 3% interest rate, you can take that on. A lot of people don't know that. So I work primarily with either sellers that are trying to get out of a property. Maybe they bought a short-term rental and they're not actually that good at it. And then also a lot of people that are looking for cost segregation. So they're looking for tax benefits and they want to buy short-term rentals. So it's like a good putting people together thing.
So How are you finding these deals? Okay, you're teaching people, like anyone on the internet, right, on how to find the sellers, how to talk to them, and then also as an agent, how are you getting paid off of this?
Yeah. So it's kind of like being a wholesaler. So that's generally how I get paid for those, unless they're on market. So if they're on market deals, then I just do it as a referral. And so what's really cool about that is that I don't have to be licensed in every single state and I can still sell nationwide. I think a lot of times people get bogged down where they're like, well, you're not an agent in Oklahoma, so you can't sell in Oklahoma. It's not really, if that seller's agent is an agent, they can just take 100% of the commission and give me my percentage as a referral fee. So there is always a way to get paid.
And can we talk further about the referral fee structure? Like how much would you get paid?
Yeah, so creative deals can be all over the map because sometimes the sellers pay it, sometimes the buyers pay it, and they pay it like an assignment fee. So if they're paying and there's already a lot that's required down, it's hard to squeak out more money from them. So it can be as little as 5K and then as much as 3% on a deal. So I think the most I've made on a creative deal is like, I don't know, $15,000 or something like that.
Just to be like, I just want to make sure I super understand it. Teaching people on the internet how to buy subject to, what that actually means. And then are you saying like through that internet presence, people are reaching out to you and saying, this seems like it would be a good fit for me. I would like to sell or even buy. And are you just like pairing people? Or is it like you're directly marketing to sellers in specific markets to find these type of deals?
All of it. Because I want all of it. I want all the money. Give it to me now. Yes. So I teach people how to do it. So, all the little mini reels, it's kind of like little bites of how you can negotiate these deals, how you can find these deals, all of that. I also post my deals on social media. And so sometimes that attracts buyers. Sometimes it even attracts sellers saying, hey, it looks like you're selling a lot of these deals. Maybe you could sell mine too. So that kind of all comes in different ways. I do a lot of marketing and networking on Facebook groups. So you'd be really surprised how many people are willing to just sell if you're kind of chatting them up in those different groups. And then I do a lot of cold calling. So it's not that cold because they're listed on the market, but there's a lot of houses these days that are listed as seller financing, owner financing, lease purchase. And if you just look for those kinds of keywords, you can call them up and try to make a deal.
Z, would you be comfortable role playing?
Ali loves to role
Ah,
play. You
I
don't
hate a role
have
play, but I'll do it for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Sweet. Okay, so you're calling me because you see that one of my listings is, for sale by owner or seller financing. Which one's your favorite?
I don't call for sale by owners. I have, but they're way less nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, so
So
I call agents a lot for seller financing or owner financing or lease purchases. I say the only thing that sucks is that most agents don't really get creative finance. And I can almost guarantee that every time you call on one of those, they want to be like 20% down, which nobody wants to pay 20% down.
yeah.
So
Okay,
that's always
perfect.
the struggle bus.
Let's talk about how you like what that conversation looks like, the initial call. So you're calling me and I have no idea about this, seller financing business. I'm ready.
Yeah. What's up? Well, I'm calling about your property on 123 Main Street. And I saw that you said something about seller financing. Does your seller have terms for that already? Or would they want me to just bring them an offer?
Hey, yeah, I mean if you have an offer, I'll take all offers and I'll present it to the seller.
So, what I would love to know is how much does your seller want down? And would they be open to them taking over a current mortgage in place, or is there no mortgage anymore?
There is a mortgage. I'm not sure how much they would want down, but maybe if you just give the offer, I'll present it to the seller.
Great. Well, to make a really strong offer, it would be awesome if you could get us a couple of things. So, if we could find out what is remaining on their mortgage statement, so just kind of the remaining part of the mortgage, the interest rate and their PITI, so the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, that would help us a ton. You can just send me a text.
And I just want to confirm too, though, with you taking over the mortgage, I am still getting paid my commission.
Absolutely.
Are you an agent? Are you going to be representing yourself? Am I representing you? You know, how does that look? Thank you for listening. Out of respect for your time, we want to make this show as valuable as possible for you. So if you have any feedback on how we can improve, please let us know. DM us at Ali the Agent and The Shelby Show. Are you an agent? Are you going to be representing yourself? Am I representing you? You know, how does that look?
Yeah, so I would be bringing the buyer, and I'm not licensed in your state. So I'm going to say you're in Arizona because that's where Ali the agent is. So I'm not licensed in Arizona. But what we can do is I can represent the buyer for all intents and purposes, but then you would just give me a referral fee. It can still be the same amount that they're offering. I see that this listing is offering 3% commission. So we can still do that, but it would just come as a referral fee.
I raised
Got
my
it.
hand.
Okay.
Well, I
Go
have a
ahead.
question about the paperwork. If I'm the agent on the
Yeah.
phone, I'm like, but you're not in my state. How are you gonna be able to write an offer with my Arizona paperwork? How could you
Yeah,
ever?
so it's pretty crazy, but all of that stuff's online. And if you've ever filled out a contract, they're all really similar. So you just fill in the blankies and go. But I think it's just this is such a an example of the way that people get in their own way because they're like, oh my God, well, I could never fill out an Arizona contract. I never even seen one. I can tell you, I can fill it out. I'll figure it out. But also with creative finance deals, there are other contracts that you can use that are not the state specific ones. And that's what we generally use. And so I'm kind of open, but we can do either.
Okay. So then you receive the PITI, how much is remaining on the mortgage, all the documents. Where do you go from there?
So we usually like to give them the full asking price because what you find is that sellers are really stuck on their price. And often, if that property's been sitting for more than a week, it's probably overpriced, which is what we're seeing a lot these days. There's a lot of overpriced homes sitting around. So if they can get their full price, they're usually so excited. And the rest is just, negotiating the bits and pieces. We try to do 10% down. Sometimes that's hard if they're paying, 6% of commission, but we still try for it. And then I prefer the interest rate that they have on the loan. So a lot of times people will say, well, it's seller financing. I want 8%. It doesn't really work that way. If it was going to be 8% and 20% down, they'd probably just go get a loan. They don't want to do the extra business of doing like creative finance. But if you can get whatever their interest rate is, say it's 4%, even if they have equity on the home, they can seller finance that remaining equity at that 4% as well. And so then they're, making some money on that equity in the home. Is that too complicated? I forget how well I know it myself. And then I'm like, oh my God, when I'm explaining it, it sounds really bad.
Okay, for an example, let's do a $300,000 house. They have 100K in equity. They have 200K left on the loan. Would you do take it from there. What would your
Okay.
breakdown be like?
So it would be 30K down. So then it would just be 70K in equity. Yeah. And then their PITI, I have no idea what that would be, but maybe let's just call it 1500 or something. And then they could with that remaining 70K in equity, they could either do equity payments. So sometimes people want payments every month. Maybe it's going to be like, I'm not doing any of this math right now. So I'm sorry if I'm going to say ridiculous things, but maybe it was like 4% and that equity of 70K was going to be like $300 or something like that. They could get those $300 payments on top of the PITI that's 1500, right? But it all depends on how that property performs. Now, if the property is not really making a lot of money, you can't really ask for equity payments because you don't want that person to fail. If they fail at your property, then you're going to get it back. And no seller wants their property back. They are done with that property. So you do have to find terms that make sense for both sides and not be like too greedy.
Yeah, 100%. And
Yeah.
who would be your ideal seller? Because a lot of times people are selling the market or putting their house on the market and they're like, I just want to be done. I filled out my Airbnb. I filled out whatever it is I was trying to do. I'm moving. I don't want to handle it.
Yeah.
Who specifically, what type of avatar are you looking for?
Well, it's generally a lot of investors because I think investors get the benefits. So one of the things that's cool is that if you are collecting equity payments. So an example is I sold a property for my husband. He got like 125K over market rate on his price because often people will pay more for a creative finance deal. And then he gets like 1,500 a month in his equity payments because he's got 300K in equity. And those are interest only payments. So in the 5 years when he has a balloon and they just pay off his whole loan, he's still going to get 300K. And this is a property that he doesn't have to do any maintenance and he doesn't have to get any tenants. And so every month he's cash flowing on a property he doesn't even own. And the reason this is really cool today is that if you were going to go sell a property and you had to now go buy something, like you had to do a 1031 exchange and go buy a property immediately, you're dealing with really high prices and high interest rates, and it's going to be harder to find a deal. So a lot of times people are really excited to just keep their money in their home invested because it's earning interest.
Exactly. So then once you have the loan, right? You found the seller, they want to sell, they're good with your terms. What do you do from there to market it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate to have a pretty good social media following. And from there, I have built a really big email list. So I post it and then I email it out. And if it doesn't sell through that, which they sell generally pretty fast, sometimes I'm just like in Facebook groups and I'm searching keywords like North Carolina. I'm like, this house is in North Carolina. Who has ever talked about buying or selling in North Carolina? I'm going to DM their bottoms. And so I just like do that. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just the hustle, right? But this is so great because I'm not knocking on doors. I can be anywhere in the world. I'm not showing properties. So I just love that, like the flexibility of doing it all online.
Is there any concern for, your husband that he got $125,000 over value, hypothetically,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah.
the buyer has 5 years and they're gonna have a balloon to refinance, do whatever. Is there any concern when you are helping the buyers that, what if it doesn't appreciate $125,000 in 5 years? I don't know. Is that something that you guys talk about, or is that a common concern, or yeah, hit me.
Yeah, totally. So if it doesn't, so there's a couple of things that we're sort of hoping that'll play in our favor. One of them is that mortgage rates are trending down. Often when mortgage rates go down, purchase prices go up. So we're kind of hoping for some appreciation being forced through that. But we also have 5 years, right? So then there's a certain amount of appreciation that tends to happen every year. And we're hoping for that as well. If it doesn't appreciate, often they write something in the contract that says, we'll extend a year or 2 years if it won't appraise. Because we're just trying to help people out.
I kind of want to go further into these Facebook groups because you've mentioned this twice now. Which Facebook groups? Where should people go?
Yeah, so I've done a few different angles. So at first I was hitting up Airbnb Facebook groups like Airbnb hosts and Airbnb managers because my clientele primarily wants to buy furnished, legal short-term rentals because that's where the biggest tax deduction is. So I thought for sure I would just go in those host groups and there would be people that are struggling and want to sell their properties. Well, they're not very friendly in those host groups. That didn't last very long. I'll still go in eventually, but that's not as easy as the investor groups. So now I do all the creative finance investor groups and then a bunch of ones where it's just like RIAs or local to that area. So it might be like an Austin real estate investor group or Texas in general or something like that.
And then when you're emailing them out, is there any art to the type of email that you're sending to get the most open rates responses?
That's a really interesting question. I try to keep it really simple. So I get as much in the subject line that's going to be attractive. So sometimes I'll have 3 deals at once or something. So I try to get, is it really low down or is it a really low interest rate or, is it something special? I try to get that in there. And then I make it really simple bullet points. I'm not like writing a story.
I sent an email out and the audience knows this. I sent one of our first emails because we're not good at emails. We don't want to spam. We only want to send out important, you know? So I was like, okay, this is important. I want to, send it. Our platform that we have like on Wix or whatever, it was my first time using it and I am not good at Wix. And it said, it gives you prompts, right? Here's where to put your subject line, beginner level. I should know this, and what to put in the body. And in the subject line, it said, as a prompt, add a catchy title. I never fixed it. So I sent it with the subject line saying, add a catchy title. And it got like an 80% open rate or higher. It was crazy. So behind the
Wow.
scenes, yeah.
There
Well,
you
I thought it was
go.
funny because you're like, yeah, add some, a title that people will open or just add a catchy title and don't change it. Seems to work also.
There you go. Apparently I'm trying too hard.
I want to keep diving into the CRM, but I have one question before we go deeper into that. Different markets, because you mentioned, in our scenario, Ali was in Arizona and you just mentioned Texas, and I know you do stuff in North Carolina. Are you focusing on specific markets, or because in my mind, I would get dizzy. I feel like, oh, this market, this, type in these rules. And so what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I haven't. It's really like the deals come from wherever they come from, and I just have to adapt. But I do find that there are certain markets that have more traction. So I start to try to keep that together. I'm really good in my CRM. I'm like hashtagging all kinds of different things that I can search later. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me to keep it all straight. Just to be honest.
Okay. No, I love honesty. Okay. Now we can bring it back to the CRM, which I know from talking to you before, you use Duet, right? To set up your like email campaigns. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not a CRM. It was just like a marketing email. Mhm.
Okay. Well, how about that? Could we talk about, because you have stuff going on all over, you have referrals out, you have a bunch of people in your email list. And are you using a CRM, or are you just using your email list? Or can you what's the difference for you in your life in practical application?
Yeah, so very similar to what Ali said, I don't like to spam people. I get so many random emails from people and I don't know. I want to just send something if it's important. So I don't have a regular flow of, oh, we send them every Monday or we send them once a month. I literally send something when I've got something interesting to send. So I kind of do them at random. And I think maybe that helps with the open rate because people sort of know there's actually a deal or something going on. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother them. The thing with Duet is like an automated thing, which is kind of cool. But when I have somebody brand new, I just set them up in my CRM. There's a certain tag. I think it's new lead or something that triggers them to get a series of 15 emails. And so that's like the new kind of welcome email, teaching them about me, what I do, how to get on a one-on-one call if they want, all that kind of stuff that everyone gets at the beginning. And then after that, I don't spam them. Just spam them up front.
Dude, I want to see it. I'm so into the triggers and the automations and building the workflow and all of that
Oh,
stuff. Where can I go to be your new lead?
oh, I will set you up manually. I don't know, Shelby. We're gonna figure this out. I mean, you can email my assistant Emily, which
Oh, it's a
we
good
were
segue.
we were talking about this, but Emily came from Shelby. The reason I love her so much is she's Shelby trained. So it works out well.
Dude, it's so funny. Yeah. And just a little, because before we hit record, I was, yeah, I don't know Emily. So Emily was our second ever transaction coordinator for Five Pillars Realty Group back when we were the traditional team. And Emily freaking holds that down with so many contracts, so many paperwork flying and being hyper organized and on her. And then when, the team structure changed and Emily had just had a baby, we went different directions, but then Ziana was like, hey, do you know anyone? And I was like, yeah, I do. So I am actually curious, what does Emily do in your business? Yo, real quick, this podcast is not free. Cost of admission is sharing with a buddy who'd benefit or throwing it on your Instagram story. Tag us, we'll reshare that. Ziana, what does Emily do in your world?
Yeah. So Emily is my everything. So I don't know really how to explain that, but she does all my property management. So I have 12 units and she helps me kind of manage all of those. And then she helps me with all of my kind of, what do I call it? Influencer stuff. But just basically like things that I'm selling on social media and like setting up admin and emails. And I mean, literally, she does everything. She like orders stuff on Amazon. I don't know. She's doing it all. But the thing she hasn't taken over are my creative finance deals because I'm still figuring out like my perfect system. If this was Shelby, she would have had a perfect system like 3 months ago. But because it's me, it's probably not going to be till later.
Is Emily full-time or is she
She's
part-time?
30 hours.
She's 30 hours. Gotcha. And I assume she lives in your email as well.
She does. Yeah. I'm not as good at email as you are, but we try. We've never had a zero inbox, but we try really, really hard.
Okay, gotcha. So I'm going to hit up Emily after this and I am going to get on your new lead trigger, blah, 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 all of that stuff because I am obsessed with the automations. And I do feel like I'm jumping around a little bit, but now that we know what Emily does, back on the CRM versus because, okay, so the new lead thing that triggers the 15 emails, the welcome, that's like the campaign that Duet set up. Is that correct?
Yes. So it goes out through ConvertKit. And so I just left EXP and I moved to a different brokerage. So I'm like hoping this all works the way that it's supposed to, but this is a great opportunity for you to test it. Because now we have a different CRM. So it has changed a little bit. We used to also like in the CRMs, they have these campaigns that you can set up, but they're just not as cute. Like the one in ConvertKit, which is an expense. And I kind of hate having expenses as an agent, but this one seems worthwhile. It's like really beautiful layouts and like cute emails with pictures and things. And then when you just send stuff through your CRM, it's just like text. It looks like duty. So that's the difference.
Okay, gotcha. So they're added to ConvertKit through the Duet campaign, but they're also added to your CRM. So they're added to both.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha. And then when you are sending out I have something interesting to send, you are sending it through your CRM or are you sending it through ConvertKit? I'm confused.
We do it through ConvertKit, but what happens is each time we're going to send a new email, Emily does like a download of the newest because we probably have entered like 100 new people,
Oh, gotcha. You're saying, so Emily's adding people to the CRM, add.
And I do too.
Yeah. Okay. And that's as you find them like through Instagram DMs or Facebook messaging or whatever, you were just adding people in there. So every time there is something to send out, you use the latest list, really.
Yeah, totally. And sometimes we do it by tags. So I have lists for all my creative deals. They're all sub 2. But it like depends on the deal. If I feel like it's good for the wider audience, we'll just send it to everybody. So it just depends.
Okay.
And because you like automations, if somebody books an appointment with me through Calendly, my Calendly connects automatically with Zapier, and it goes into my CRM. So if they've booked a session with me, I automatically have them in the CRM. I just try to be really good about adding every single person I can. Anyone that gives me a phone number or an email, I'll manually enter them in if I don't have any kind of cheat way to do it. Like I wish maybe there's a way to just have my Gmail talk to my CRM. I haven't figured it out though.
Yeah, maybe. And it's funny, Zapier. No one knows. Literally no one knows. Everyone always does that exact same thing where they're like Zapier. They just have it's 2 names at this point.
2 names.
What CRM are you using now?
It's called IntelliAgent. It's what Fathom Realty has. It's their inside scooper.
Okay, gotcha. The reason why I ask is because there are some CRMs. I have not done this yet, but it's on my list that my CRM has the ability to do everything Calendly does. So you can create forms and then it talks directly. You can sync it with your calendar and the contacts automatically get added instead of having to Zap. But Zap definitely works, but just curious, that might be an option.
Totally. I mean, and I think there have been times where Emily will just download my contacts from Google and then you can input them into my CRM, but it's just like more complicated. So I do a lot of manually entering. I feel like so dumb saying that, but I do.
Dude, we all do dumb all the time where it's, I know I shouldn't be
Yeah.
doing this. I know that there's an automated way. And yet here I am, just caveman style. But you know what? At
Yeah.
least it's going somewhere, you know?
I'm capturing. I am capturing. I think that's the thing though. There's so many agents I talk to that don't even use their CRM. They're like, yeah, I have my cell phone and I just have my contacts there. And I'm like, no, I've got, I don't know, 8,000 people in my CRM. I am capturing. It's not playing around.
Yeah.
Anyway,
In what other ways are you using Zapier?
that is the only way. There's probably
Okay.
lots of ways to use it. I'm a basic.
So, hey,
But you
so am
have
I
you
get
have
it.
some everyone go to her Instagram, Zeona McIntyre. I almost screwed that up again.
Yes.
McIntyre, Zeona. I was gonna say spelled like how it sounds, but Zeona and then that. And so you can see, guys, if you like want to copy, some of the automations that Zeona is doing, like, I mean, she's got right there her link. She's got a link tree. Her Facebook profile is connected, and her Instagram. You can apply to her short-term rental, medium-term rental Mastermind, and there's a blog feature. So those are some cool, simple ways if that you can stack different tech to make it all talk to each other. And actually, on this note, the short-term rental, medium-term rental Mastermind. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I think I copied you. You were like, oh, I'm doing this mastermind thing. And I was
Damn
like, I
right.
want to do mastermind. But I didn't want it to be so general. So like the things that a lot of people knew me for before were short-term rentals and mid-term rentals or medium-term rentals. So I figured let's focus on that. And the person that I lead it with, because I'm lazy and I don't like to do all the work, is Jake Cohen. And he comes from boutique hotels. So he has like a cool extra spin. He does a lot of short-term rentals as well, but that's like his background. So we meet once a month, and then there's an accountability call that just the group does like 2 weeks in. So I guess they meet every 2 weeks. But yeah, it's been fun.
Wait, I have a follow-on question. So you guys in
Yeah.
your mastermind, you guys meet once a month, like on Zoom.
Yes.
And is it just talk about, who's got issues? Let's talk it through together. Very open forum. Yes.
Yeah, we have a sign up sheet for topics, and everybody brings their different topics. Whenever people have questions, I try to capture that and make it a topic. We also have a Facebook group. So if someone's got something pressing, they can just ask it then. But yeah, it's been everything from pricing to screening tenants to furniture. I mean, right now we're doing like goal setting stuff. So it just really depends.
And that's the one time a month. Is it an hour? How long is it?
It usually ends up being an hour and a half. We try to do an hour of subjects or teaching or something, and then more just like free flow questions. But yeah, it always goes a little long.
And then what's the accountability call?
I don't go to that one, so I don't really know. Now, Jake leads that one. It's like small groups, and I guess they just talk about, what are they struggling with? Where do they want to go? Like what are they going to work on in the next section? Yeah, I don't really know.
That's cool. Okay. I like that. Okay. Every guest that we have on this episode provides a tool.
Wait. Okay. I don't know which tool you guys picked because they gave you 2 tools. Which one?
Okay. For the furnishing template, it's an Excel doc or Google Doc Excel thing. You know what I'm talking about. Can you walk us through it? How do you use this in your business?
Yes. Yeah. We sell, man, my business has changed so much over the years, but like people used to know me for short-term rentals. Then it became midterm rentals, which if you're not familiar with that, it's still furnished, but they're month to month. But the whole thing that's hard for people is the furnishing part, right? It's maybe they don't have style, or maybe they just don't realize that you need a wine opener and plates and trash cans for the bathroom. There's just so much stuff you need when you're furnishing a place. And so we kind of created with my furnishing partner. So it's not just me. I don't do anything alone. I think that's what you're getting to realize. But she created this whole list, and she does a bunch of design and furnishing gigs for people all over the US. And so this is kind of a master list she pulls from. And There's probably even more that we could add to this list, but it's a really great start. And it's got at least a few different styles in it. Probably some like mid-century modern, boho, coastal from different projects she's done. So there's a lot of cool stuff, but it'll get you started.
Oh, big time. I mean, this covers everything. It has coasters on here, side table art. Man, like when I was furnishing my rentals before I met my wife, she was like, this is disgusting. Like only bachelors would want to live here. I'm like, why would I want to pay for an art? I don't like it. So they're like, no, 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 no. So this would have been so helpful to me a couple years ago. Now, luckily, I got married. Thank God. This is, yeah, so smart. And then, okay, so that's under the first tab, all necessary items. The second tab, what's the second tab here?
So you can kind of, there's like a master list and then there's like a what you need per room. And so you can kind of move things over if you want for what you've decided for this project. And then it actually like auto calculates the total price, which helps. It's a smart list if you're a smart person. I'm not always a smart person, so good luck.
This is also like intuitive too at the same time. Like it's easy enough to say, hey, if I'm buying a house with the seller's leaving the couch, the seller's leaving XYZ, you can just plug and play. So thank you so much for sharing this. And as everyone knows,
Totally.
everyone can find this for free on theagentgoldmine.com. Thank you.
Yeah, totally. We've been trying forever to open up an Amazon store, and I'm hoping we can actually do it, but it's been very difficult. If we eventually get that, I will share it with people and it will be very plug and play. It's a dream. It's a pipe dream.
Z, okay, so I feel like you're always working on a lot of things and you work from a lot of things from far away, like wherever you feel like working, which is amazing. What's next for you? What's like another big goal that you want to accomplish?
Apple listeners, this short pause is to ask you for a review. Here's how to do it. Back out of the specific episode, go to the page where you see all the episodes, scroll down, keep scrolling. Perfect. Now tap those 5 stars. Thank you so much. Back to the show.
Yes. I mean, I'm really loving the creative finance. So I'm going to really take advantage of that this year because I have a feeling that once interest rates get too low, it just won't be as appealing to people. So I think like I've got a year and a half in this for now with the demand and the rate I've got. So I just want to take advantage of that. And as an aside for that, I think that I've been in real estate long enough to realize that things have their cycles. And so I think people get into their little rut where they're like, oh, I'm going to just do the same thing forever. And it's no. Stuff changes all the time and you have to be flexible and creative about it, right? So it's okay, cool. I know I have this really awesome window of opportunity for 2 years. I'm going to max that out. And then I'm going to have to totally reinvent myself. And I'm okay with that. I just want to give people a little bit like, hey, if you've been struggling in 2023, it's probably because you're not reinventing yourself and you need to go do that. Yes.
Dude.
Now I totally lost my question.
Well, you answered it. It was like, what does the future hold basically?
Yeah. But my big thing, I have another book that I pitched to Bigger Pockets. So I'm just waiting to see if we actually get to do it. So that would be very cool.
Dude, what's it called? Can you share it or no?
No. I'll share it with you personally, but I'm sorry. It's a really cool idea. And I feel like if I tell people and someone beats me to it, I'd be very upset about it.
No, that's totally true. And no one you're the coolest. You should be able to write this book, whatever the topic is. Okay, so that's what the future holds. What did we miss? I know that we didn't, my fucking intro, I might have to go back and change it. We didn't talk about really what I was going to talk about, which is way better but is there anything on this subject, maybe creative finance or CRM or marketing, like any of the stuff we talked about that you wanted to close a loop on?
No, I mean, the only other thing that you really want to talk about is like, how can agents help people buy short and midterm rentals? And is that important? If it's important, we can talk about it. It's something you could talk about. You don't even need me because you used to have a bunch of those.
Yeah. And then I shut them all down because adjusting, right? For me in that market, it had its life cycle and it served its purpose for a couple of years. And then, things changed and I had change too. And that's okay. I really like what you said about being able to totally reinvent yourself. So it's like detaching this grasp that you have on what you think is you and what you think is your thing, because it's going to change. And if you accept that, then you can adjust more beautifully with it.
Yeah. And on that note, I think if I would have thought that I could do short-term rentals forever, I'd be so sad now because that's not as good anymore. Like I started doing short-term rentals in like 2012, and their best heyday years were like 2017 to 2019. I guess 2021 ended up being a good year. But after that, they've done a lot harder, and there's been so much inventory, and they're hard to rent, as you know. And even midterm rentals have gotten hard to rent because I wrote that book, and I'm sorry I ruined that. But at this point, it's almost like people either need to pivot back to long-term rentals or they need to do something different. And for me, what I'm doing is slowly changing all my portfolio to like syndications and investing in funds. And if I was still gripping on to short-term rentals, I would just be like, I'm a failure. It's never going to happen. You have to just kind of say, all right, things have changed and I need to change too.
That's perfect. I feel like, you know what, we should probably title this something related to that. I really, really like that because a lot of times people think, hey, if it's working, keep going, and like never stop. And they just become very, very narrow minded, instead of looking at other options because flexing or adjusting to them might feel like a failure. Perfect. Okay. I want to head to our wrap up questions, starting with our first one. Out of all the tools and apps that you use in your personal life and your business, which one is your favorite?
Instagram. Am I not supposed to say that?
Say whatever you want.
No, that's a great
Yes.
answer.
Well, so I used to, when I first became an agent, I found this like luxury agent, teacher, coach, whatever, that a friend of mine swore by. And I did a year with her program. And she had two tiers. She had the agents that were kind of like baseline, and then the ones that were making like 800K or more on their own. That was what they were taking home. And so what I saw in the difference between those two groups, because she let me kind of like play around in both, is that people that were in the baseline, they weren't using Instagram. And everyone else that was in this higher tier and they were just absolutely killing it, they had a presence. It was like they had lots of videos and things going on. And you just don't realize how powerful that can be if you're not using it. So if that's like the one thing that you guys take away from here is like really have, even if it's just picking one social media that you like kill it on, build that. Build it now before you need it. Because I sell so much stuff on Instagram. It's crazy.
I have to add also really quick, with social media, Facebook, Instagram, sometimes people add third-party apps to help them with their social media, and it will only hurt them. It'll get them kicked out. It'll get them, blocked or whatever. I've seen so many times where business owners and just regular people not selling anything, they dismiss their Instagram, they get kicked out because they hired this other, third-party app to talk to Instagram. I am a big proponent of never doing that. I've seen it happen. And because if Instagram is what you're relying on, if that's what anybody's relying on, or Facebook, and they get kicked out, dude, that's their, so
Yeah.
just be careful when it comes to that. Always have some sort of backup.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you asked me what is the app that I hate the least or hate the most, so like the least, I would also say Instagram. So just to know both sides of it, it's like this engine requires so much attention that sometimes it feels like a part-time job. Like right now, I have a social media team and they are waiting for me to send them videos. And so you got to constantly come up with ideas and make them and blah. And some of them don't do well. And then you feel like a sucker. I mean, I think just so people know that even if you feel successful at it or look successful, it is a slog. It's a slog for all of us.
Dude, it's such a slog. I feel that so hard right now, especially since exactly like you said, I have a team that helps me with the posting and the editing.
Team.
Are you using Austin too? And that's like so funny. But I am the bottleneck. Like he literally was this morning and was like, "So are you gonna do something today?" Because he's literally been on me like every day for what I owe him. And then I'm like, it really does suck being the bottle. But then he'll do, okay, just sharing my issues here is that I am not good at releasing the captions. I hate how it sounds when it's ChatGPT. It doesn't matter how many of my previous captions or stuff I've written that they plug in there. I'm still like, nope, that's not what I would say. And I'm the bottleneck because I'll do all videos, whatever, and then the captions come to me and I just cannot let someone else's voice, AI's voice, happen on the internet. I don't know. Hard.
Oh, that is so funny because I'm like, it's the videos that are a problem.
Really?
And I don't care. I think their captions have gotten better. I'm like, oh, cool, whatever. Nobody's reading Shelby. Just let it go.
Wasim is like, you're the problem. It's you, which is so true. Also, I love Taylor Swift. Anyway, let's go to the next question, which is, what events are you going to in the next 12 months?
Only ones I'm speaking at. Or if Shelby's doing something. Yeah, you know, that. Okay. So here's my thing about events. You can get so excited about your ego and go speak at events all over the world and then realize that they're not paying you and you have to pay for your own hotel and you have to fly there and it takes you away from work. And I'm just like, no. So I only go to the absolute biggest, best ones and I just keep it to a couple.
Are
but
they
yeah,
paying
maybe
you
that's a detriment. Some people, but like almost none. And I think you can get on the paid circuit, but that's almost like if you have a speaking agent.
It's that's a whole thing too. Like I remember in the beginning of 2021, I think it was like, this was one of my own goals. Like I'm going to speak at more events. And so I did. I spoke at several different conferences and then no one was paying me. Like, just like you said, I'm like, I'm doing all this and it is beneficial in some ways, but not in other ways, like financially, at least direct correlation. I'm sure there's the after effects, but anyway, I digress.
I mean, I think I get like 100 followers and I'm like, is it worth that? Or should I just make better content from my house? I mean, if it's anything that's local to like the Denver area, I'll go do it. But flying, I'm like, no. No.
Good. How can we, Shelby and I, and the audience help you in your business?
Oh my gosh, I love that. Send me properties that you want to sell subject to. If you're like even remotely curious, like you're like, I probably don't want to do your witchcraft, but I want to hear about it. Just hit me up because I'll talk you into it and it'll be great.
Okay, where can people find you?
Instagram, Zeona McIntyre, like you said. I also have a website.
McIntyre.
That's right. ZeonaMcIntyre.com is my website. So yeah, from those two are the best.
Sweet. And so everyone go follow her in case you don't already. She is amazing, as you could tell in today's episode. If you haven't already given us a follow too, we're Ali the Agent. We're the Shelby Show. We're always on the gram. Well, I am. Shelby is a little bit.
I'm hit or miss. But it's me and it's not ChatGPT.
Hey. Authentic to Shelby
for now.
And of course, you can find today's golden nugget on theagentgoldmine.com. That is it for today. Zeona, thank you so much for coming on. And to the audience, be a bro and share this show.
Her name is Zeona McIntyre, which I just screwed up McIntyre after she told me how to pronounce it the first time. So we're on round 2, people. She's one of the coolest people that I've ever met. I just love you. There was one time where we were talking about how I'd just known you forever. We'd been friends forever. And you were like, Shelby, I literally just met you. I felt our love and connection was real. That's fine. I'm not done introducing. Me or you, Ellie? I got one if you want. Okay, so yeah, Zeona. I don't know how you and Craig did it back. I'm gonna mark this clip. But Ali and I do this thing where we're like, are you going? Am I going? It's really fun.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Okay, perfect.
Like a stunned look.
Sorry.
Thanks so much for listening, dude. If you want the golden nugget that this guest provided, see the show notes or just go straight to theagentgoldmine.com. That's where we keep all our resources for you. Till next time.